and he sponsored motorcycle races down on the ellipse.
Really?
And they did bicycle races down there too.
We've invited Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz into our living rooms. Watching them unearth rusty gold from America's forgotten corners, it seemed like a dream job, a perfect partnership. But what if I told you that behind the friendly banter, a series of secret business deals and burgeoning ambitions were brewing, threatening to tear the entire show apart? We're not just talking a minor disagreement. We're talking a situation so volatile it almost destroyed American pickers. Today we're pulling back the curtain on Mike Wolfe's expanding empire and the high-stakes conflicts that nearly cost him, and us, one of television's most beloved shows. Stay tuned, because the story is far more complex than you ever imagined. The foundation, more than just a TV show. To understand the near implosion of American pickers, we first need to grasp Mike Wolfe's original vision. Long before the History Channel, Mike was a picker, but also an entrepreneur. His antique archaeology stores in LeClaire, Iowa, and later Nashville, Tennessee, weren't just merchandise outlets. They were the main event. Mike himself stated, "The stores were always the foundation. The show was supposed to support the stores, not the other way around. This is key." American Pickers was, in essence, a powerful marketing engine for his retail businesses, and it worked spectacularly. The stores became massive tourist attractions, sometimes overwhelmed by fans. This success, independent of direct show revenue, fueled Mike's ambition and laid the groundwork for an expanding empire. The show provided fame, but the stores and subsequent ventures were where Mike saw long-term financial growth. This business model, where the show served the stores, is crucial to understanding the conflicts that arose. It was a brilliant strategy, but one that would eventually strain relationships and the show itself. The initial success was undeniable, but it also planted the seeds for future complications as Mike's focus broadened. Empire building, bricks, bikes, and backlash. With antique archaeology thriving, Mike Wolfe didn't stop. He diversified, venturing into areas that, while brand-related, started to pull focus and resources, creating new pressures. Real estate became a significant undertaking, particularly in his hometown of LeClaire, Iowa. Mike invested heavily in restoring historic properties, purchasing and renovating multiple buildings on Main Street, effectively becoming a major local developer. His stated goal: "I'm not trying to change LeClaire, I'm trying to preserve its history." A noble aim, but this aggressive acquisition led to local concerns about gentrification and rising property values, pricing out longtime residents. The LeClaire City Council even implemented new regulations, partly due to Mike's market influence. One local business owner lamented how Mike came in and changed everything, making it hard for established businesses to compete. Beyond real estate, Mike immersed himself in the custom motorcycle world, specifically through his involvement with the Indian Larry legacy. After the iconic bike builder's tragic death in 2004, Mike became heavily involved in preserving and selling Larry's motorcycles and memorabilia. For Mike, it was honoring a friend. Indian Larry was a friend and an artist. I'm honoring his memory by keeping his work alive. However, this move also drew criticism from some in the motorcycle community who felt Mike was capitalizing on Larry's death, commercializing a revered legacy. These ventures showcased Mike's business drive but also began to create ripples. He was building an empire, but these expansions also sowed discontent and stretched his focus. The question loomed: could he manage it all without something or someone reaching a breaking point? Each new venture added complexity and potential for conflict, both within the show's ecosystem and in the communities he was impacting. The Fritz fracture, partnership under pressure. While Mike Wolfe was expanding his business horizons, a critical relationship was deteriorating: his on-screen partnership with Frank Fritz. The easy camaraderie viewers loved began to fray under the weight of business realities and perceived inequalities. This wasn't a minor spat. It was a fundamental breakdown that struck at the core of American pickers. Frank Fritz became increasingly public about his dissatisfaction. A primary issue was profit sharing. Frank complained he wasn't seeing an equitable share of the show's success, alleging Mike's side businesses like antique archaeology benefited disproportionately from their shared fame. In a 2021 interview with The Sun, Frank stated, "I haven't talked to Mike in 2 years. He knew my back was messed up, but he didn't call me up and ask how I was doing." He further emphasized the imbalance. The show is tilted towards him 1,000%. The disputes extended beyond money. Tensions arose over Frank's limited involvement in store appearances and meet and greets, events that heavily promoted the antique archaeology brand. Reports surfaced of Mike making separate merchandising deals without Frank, leading Frank to claim, "Mike is very controlling. He controls everything about the show." Frank's health issues exacerbated the situation. While Frank faced significant challenges, including Crohn's disease and debilitating back surgery, crucial business decisions were reportedly made without his input. Mike continued expanding his empire during Frank's recovery. Upon his return, Frank found a changed dynamic, leading to resentment. He expressed this, saying, "While I was dealing with my health, it felt like the business moved on without me." The departure of Frank Fritz from American Pickers in 2021, after nearly 22 seasons, was the most visible sign of the internal turmoil. It left fans wondering if the show could survive without the iconic duo. Was Mike's relentless business drive ultimately responsible for pushing his partner away and nearly sinking the ship they built together? The public nature of their falling out put immense pressure on the show's image and future. Control, conflicts, and widening cracks. Frank Fritz's departure was a massive blow, but the internal pressures on American Pickers were multifaceted. Mike Wolfe's desire for greater control over the brand and his expanding business interests created conflicts with the production company, other cast members, and even his own family. Sources suggest Mike sought more creative control and a larger ownership stake in the American Pickers' intellectual property. He reportedly formed his own production relationships that sometimes clashed with the show's primary producers, Cineflix and the History Channel. An anonymous former crew member stated, "Mike started seeing dollar signs everywhere and wanted his piece of every pie." This ambition naturally led to friction. Even Danielle Colby, the popular manager of antique archaeology, wasn't immune. Danielle developed her own ventures, including a burlesque academy and vintage clothing business. While Mike initially seemed supportive, reports later surfaced of tensions over time commitments. Furthermore, Danielle's vintage clothing business sometimes competed with Mike's stores. Danielle commented on the need for separation. "Everyone needs to understand that we all have lives and businesses outside of the show." The integration of Mike's brother, Robbie Wolfe, onto the show, especially post-Frank, added another layer. Robbie had his own picking business, and his presence sometimes led to competition with established dealers. Some long-time contacts reportedly felt Robbie negotiated separate deals, changing dynamics. A picker who worked with the show noted, "Bringing Robbie in changed the whole dynamic." These multiplying interests created a complex web, from controversial property flips where preservationists accused Mike of prioritizing profit over authentic restoration despite his claims, "Every building I touch gets better," to aggressive brand licensing deals that conflicted with other cast members' agreements. The pressure mounted. There were even legal disputes over using the American Pickers name. An industry insider revealed Mike wanted to control every aspect of the brand, even when it affected his co-star's ability to make a living. The sheer number of moving parts in Mike's expanding world seemed to inevitably lead to collisions. The aftermath and an uncertain future. The culmination of these business deals, personality clashes, and control disputes brought American Pickers to a precarious point. Frank Fritz's departure was the most public sign, but underlying issues continued to cast a shadow. Recent reports, particularly from 2023 to 2024, have raised questions about potential conflicts of interest stemming from Mike's vast business empire. Concerns emerged about whether Mike was double-dipping by prominently featuring his own antique archaeology stores and personally restored properties on the show. Was the line blurring between authentic picking and subtle promotion for his other ventures? A production source claimed, There were times when we wondered if we were filming a TV show or a commercial for Mike's businesses. This perception, fair or not, can erode viewer trust. Historically, American Pickers began as a more collaborative effort. Over time, Mike's business acumen saw him take a more dominant role, leading to Frank feeling sidelined. Mike acknowledged the business aspect. The show gave us opportunities, but we still had to be smart businessmen to take advantage of them. The impact wasn't just internal. Mike's success spawned imitators, leading to market saturation. His business model became a template. However, critics argue this success commercialized what was once a more authentic hobbyist culture. Has the drive for empire building diluted the simple joy of the pick that initially drew viewers? What do you think? Was Mike's relentless business drive a necessary evil for success, or did it ultimately harm the spirit of American pickers? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this look behind the scenes intriguing, please give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.